Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. So, match week 2 in the Premier League. Big game for Liverpool at home for the first time with a full capacity. And I'm sure a lot of fans are just raring to go to soak up the atmosphere. So it should be a good occasion. But we can go through sort of teams that I feel like, the players that I feel like might be starting during this game. But we can also revisit what happened during match week 1. So Liverpool were able to notch up a good win against Norwich last week. First half was a good half. I think Alisson was very crucial in terms of how the game panned out, made some crucial saves in the first half. I think once the first goal came in through Jota, we were a lot more comfortable in possession, and I believe we had enough quality to sort of ride through the game and able to score a couple more goals. In particular, Mo Salah scored a fantastic third goal and had a great performance overall with a goal and 2 assists. So great start to the Premier League season for Liverpool there. Burnley, who are our opposition for this weekend, lost their first game of the season to Brighton, which was 2-1 at home. So a little bit surprising, as they're normally quite difficult to beat at their stadium. But I guess it's still early days for a lot of the teams. So a lot of players trying to gain their ultimate fitness, but maybe it's just one of those things where it's too early for them to reach their sort of maximum capacity. But before I sort of give you my predicted lineup for Liverpool and the overall score prediction, I'll just speak about key players that I feel like we need to look out for in the Burnley team. So a lot of us would be aware of these players as Burnley don't chop and change their players that much. So Nick Pope, for me, a good goalkeeper, but whenever he plays against Liverpool, he just turns into Manuel Neuer, and he's just unbelievable whenever he plays Liverpool. So the key here is for us to try and attack as much as possible. Obviously, their defense is pretty solid. So the 2 centre-backs in Ben Mee and Tarkowski as well, pretty much the rock of that team. Very difficult to break down. Their full-backs as well, you've got Taylor and Loughton, who are very industrious in terms of their play and can produce some good balls into the box, which is one of their key assets in terms of collecting goals. Another player for me that stands out is McNeil. So he is the creative spark of that team, playing on the left-hand side, provides a lot of width and flair. A very dangerous player as he can score goals as well. And then you've got the 2 attackers. So Rodriguez, decent player for me, attacks the channel quite well, so might be tricky for our fullbacks. I think he'll predominantly play on the right-hand side, as McNeil normally touches the byline whenever he plays. So do expect to see Rodriguez drifting out wide or playing a little bit deeper in order to supply passes to their main man, the talisman, Chris Wood, who, as we've all seen over the years, big, strong, physical striker. He can be a handful for any defense in the Premier League. So these are the sort of areas that I feel like we have to be wary of in terms of how they play, their physicality. But I'm quite confident going into this match, and it's our first home game as well. And I feel like the way we played against Norwich puts us in good position against an opposition like Burnley. So I'll just go through my predicted lineup that I feel like I would place in the team if I was the manager. So I think easy to solve the goalkeeper, Alisson, fantastic in his first game, made some crucial saves. He's pretty much a stone wall in our formation, so no need to discuss on him any further there. Back 4, Tsimikas for me, I was quite impressed with. Did have a couple of moments where the concentration wasn't quite there and out of position in sort of counter-attacks. But pretty much his first start in the Premier League, so it will take a few sort of games for him to get into that. But have been impressed with the way he played, the way he attacks the ball. which is good actually because we've always had Milner to be the makeshift left back. And as great as Milner is, obviously he's not left footed, so he doesn't provide that natural width. But you get more pace if you have Tsimikas on the left hand side. So for me, Tsimikas definitely to start. I realized Robertson has sort of started training, but I don't think it's enough for him to be rushed and thrown into the game straight away. Excuse me. I feel like we should take our time, Robertson, give him a couple of weeks for him to sort of regain full fitness. As at the minute, Tsimikas is doing a decent job. So that's my left back there. Right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Another good performance from him last week. So for me, he stays in the team. Van Dijk, so I was surprised that Van Dijk was in the team last week. I feel like it might have been a bit too soon, but he's our colossal in the back, so it's only right that he starts. And for this game, I'd definitely start him as well. His centre-back pairing is an interesting one because I was very impressed with how Matip performed last week. And for me, I would go with Matip again. I know people may be a bit like, he's quite injury prone, so should he be playing consecutive games? At this stage, I feel like the first month of the Premier League, we've got Konate's coming, he's not quite ready yet. And you want to embed him sort of slowly into the team rather than throw him in the deep end. Gomez, who is a great shot as well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he started this game. He's still getting back to his full fitness. So I think for this fixture, I would probably play Matip. And I feel like his aerial presence will be quite crucial in blocking any attacks from a very physical team like Burnley. So onto the midfield, I would reinstate Fabinho back into the squad. I know he made a late appearance last week, so he might not be fully up to scratch, but he's our best number 6 in the squad. So if he's more or less 80% fit, he needs to be thrown into the team. So I would play him in the number 6 role. The 2 number 8s is an interesting one. So Naby Keita for me had a good game last week. Not as attack-minded as he has probably been in the past, and probably played more of that sort of Genie role that we're used to seeing from Genie, obviously, in the past. But I feel like he did it really well. Could have been a bit better with the ball, but he's playing consecutive games, so it's only great for his fitness. He's getting into that rhythm as well, and I'm sure his confidence is high after playing consecutive games and starting last week. So I would definitely play Keita in this team. Now, the final spot in midfield is quite debatable. I think some may have put Henderson in. I don't think Henderson's quite ready yet, so I wouldn't throw in Henderson in there quite yet. You've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, who played last week. I feel like he had a decent game, but I feel like for this fixture, I would probably go with Milner. And I know you're probably thinking, he's 35, he played last week as well. Why would we play him consecutively? I feel like his experience is quite crucial in this sort of fixture, and he can sort of roughen up the other midfielders in the opposition team. So I feel like his key attributes are needed for this sort of fixture. But I would say in the second half, it'll be probably good to bring in Thiago onto the pitch or Oxlade-Chamberlain if we need more of an attacking threat from the midfield. So great options to have on the bench as well. But this would be my starting midfield. And up front, I think the 2 wide forwards pretty much the same for me. Salah, who was fantastic last week, and Mane as well. Slowly getting there. I feel like the crowd will really help Mane's performance. I remember the last fixture of last season, probably one of his best performances in several months. So he definitely thrives off the crowd, and he gets that sort of buzz when he's playing on the pitch as well. So for me, I'm hoping Mane has a really good game. Up front, this might be an unpopular opinion here, but I'm not the biggest fan of Jota in the middle. I feel like he does do a good job against certain oppositions, but for me, he's not a natural number 9. I like him as a wide forward because he uses pace really well. He's able to cut in and then has a great shot on him. Whereas when he plays that number 9 role, I know he drops deep, but the thing is, he still has to have his back facing onto the defense. So he's not really quite, I don't think he has that awareness to be sort of the number 9 for us. I know we don't play with a traditional number 9, but as the main attacker, I feel like it works for some oppositions, but I wouldn't have him as a starter in every game. So in this case, I would bring back Firmino, and I will play Firmino into the lineup. So just to recap my predicted lineup there, got Alisson in goal. My back four is Tsimikas, Van Dijk, Matip, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. In midfield, I've got Fabinho, Naby Keita, and James Milner. And up front, I've got Mane, Firmino, and Salah. So that is my starting 11. Score prediction. So I know Burnley are one of those teams where you're like, they're going to be a tricky opposition as they like to park the bus and playing very cautious tactics or long balls as well. That doesn't suit the way Liverpool want to orchestrate their game. But it's at Anfield, full capacity. I feel like that's going to just add a different buzz to this fixture. So I'm going for a bold scoreline there. I'm going for 4-0. I'll probably have pie on my face afterwards if the scoreline is nowhere near this. But, it's the new season. You have to be optimistic. I'm going for 2 goals for Salah. I want Mane to grab a goal. I think that will help his confidence playing in front of a crowd as well. And Naby Keita as well. So that's my prediction in terms of the goal scorers. But let me know what you guys think of my starting lineup in the comments, and let me know what you think of my prediction. Might be a bit bold, but that's just my thoughts there. So that's the match preview for Liverpool against Burnley. So before we wrap up, as we're still in August right now, a lot of transfer rumours flying around. At this stage, not quite sure what's happening with Liverpool, but we can speak about a few targets that I've come across in the past week. So, one breaking news that came out today, which was Lewandowski wanting a new challenge. So it's been reported that he's told the Bayern Munich officials that he would like to leave the club and possibly pursue his career in a different league. The last person who wanted to leave Bayern Munich and wanted the challenge was Thiago, and he ended up in Liverpool. Not saying that's going to happen here, but if I'm brutally honest, I don't see him moving in this window. 100 million is the quoted fee for I believe he's 32, 33 years old. I just don't see it happening. And obviously he has a large salary as well. So obviously I would love to see a player like Lewandowski come into Liverpool, but I don't think it happens. When I saw this news break, I just thought of Man City automatically. Would they shift their focus on Lewandowski from Harry Kane? Because from what we've heard in terms of the reports, Daniel Levy at Tottenham would like 150, 160 million for Kane. Whereas you've got Lewandowski, who's pretty much, I know he's 32, 33, but he's pretty much playing the best football of his career right now. So for 100 million, probably command similar salary as well. Would it be a wise decision to go into Lewandowski? It's an interesting one. Let me know what you guys think. For me, I think both of them would be a great fit for Man City. I'm just hoping that neither of them join because it just strengthens their position in the league. And I feel like all the teams pretty much, apart from Liverpool, I think Liverpool lack depth, but our starting lineup is pretty much nailed on in terms of who would start if we had a fully fit squad. Chelsea, they've got Lukaku now, so they've got a focal point in their attack. Manchester United, they've got Sancho, they've got Varane, but they still lack a dominant midfielder, in my opinion. So they might be doing some more business during the next week or so. And you've got Man City, who I think was evident against their fixture against Tottenham, lack that main striker, lack someone with a killer instinct in front of goal, because they created a lot of chances during that game. So remains to be seen in terms of who they sign. But if we're playing FIFA or fantasy football, I'd love to see Lewandowski at Anfield, but I'm not sure if that will happen. Another rumor that pretty much has been circulating this summer for a number of years is Houssem Aouar to join LFC. So I don't think this move will happen. I think he's strongly linked with Tottenham earlier on this morning, that they're set to have talks. Good player, can offer sort of a good attacking threat from midfield as a number 8, can also play on the left. For me, the similar ilk to Philip Coutinho in terms of how he plays, the style of play. So we have sort of lacked that player over the years. So in hindsight, you'd think that's a good addition. But I feel like with Houssem Aouar in the last few years, he hasn't made great improvements or great strides in terms of his development. I feel like he's pretty much the same player as he was 2-3 years ago. So obviously, what we hear in the media, but there's reports that he hasn't got a great attitude when it comes to training. His agent, I believe, is his brother. So in terms of trying to get the next move, the demands are probably higher than expected or for that sort of type of player right now, because the transfer fee, I believe, is 20-25 million. So he's not commanding a big transfer fee, but obviously it's not just the transfer fee. The salary package is an important factor for any club to sign a player. So Houssem Aouar, I don't see him joining Liverpool. I can see him possibly joining either Tottenham or Arsenal, even though I know Arsenal signed Odegaard today. But I think they might need some extra bodies in terms of their midfield, as they can't heavily rely on players like Smith Rowe and Odegaard. If they had another player like Houssem Aouar, it would be a great option to have in the squad. But yeah, it remains to be seen. I wouldn't be disappointed if we were going in for him, but at this stage, I don't see any truth in their interest there. Another player, Ismail Assar, for 80 million. So that fee alone is ridiculous. So that's a point blank no. I don't see that happening. In terms of the player himself, for me, I do rate Ismail Assar. Great player, can play on the right-hand side, left-hand side quite comfortably. Great raw speed. Has really improved since he's actually joined Watford a couple of years ago. His end product's a lot better. He's getting more goals, more assists. So he's definitely developed into a better player since he's moved to the Premier League. The fee is ridiculous. I don't see anyone paying that sort of price. He would be a good addition to the squad. Me personally, I don't think we need that sort of player because he's more of an out-and-out winger. He's not really a forward. Our attackers are inside forwards, so they do their damage in the middle where they score more goals. So that would be my question mark regarding Ismail Assar. But he does have the raw ability to develop into a forward, similar to his good friend Mane. So, but in this window, no, unfortunately, I don't see that happening. Might be sounding very negative here, but I just don't see a lot of these rumors having any truth. So this is another one. So Adama Traore linked to Liverpool again. For me, he's not the right type of player for Liverpool. In hindsight, yes, he'd be fantastic to have an option from the bench where he offers that strength, that speed on the flank. But we don't have a striker to kind of be arriving for those type of crosses. If we had a traditional number 9, then I feel like a player like Sarr, who I just mentioned, Adama Traore, that would kind of make sense. But we don't play that sort of football. So any type of forwards that we sign, it relies on their technical ability in terms of how they play across the pitch. And for me, Adama Traore, as good as he is in terms of what he does, it's not enough to play for Liverpool. We don't really need out-and-out wingers. We need players that can be creative, score goals, and do it on a consistent basis, which, if you look at his track record, isn't the case. So no, not for me, unfortunately. This is an interesting one. So I just found out yesterday that Domenico Berardi, who had a fantastic Euros with Italy over the summer, is set to leave Sassuolo. I think that's how you pronounce it. So Sassuolo. So I believe the quoted fee is that he is allowed to leave for 30 million. In terms of his play, I do think he's a good player. I was quite impressed with how he played in the Euros. Predominantly plays on the right-hand side, left-footed player, great technical ability, especially during the Euros. Really impressive in terms of his first touch, the way he dribbled as well. Last season, he was pretty much the talisman and scored a lot of goals for the Italian team there. Is there any legs in this one? I'm not quite too sure. I think with the sort of surgence of Harvey Elliott, who is a sort of left-footed player, plays on the right-hand side and can play midfield, I feel like Harvey Elliott offers more in terms of versatility to our squad. Berardi is predominantly on the right-hand side, can play on the left, but isn't as effective. So he wouldn't be a bad option on the bench. But I feel like if you've requested for a move away from your club, it'd probably be where you'd want to start games. But who knows? If we were strongly linked with him, there are rumours circling that we are interested in. But if we were to make a move, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I do feel like he's a good player. But I just want a striker. For me, that's the sort of profile I want. I want a sort of a Vlahovic, a number 9. Lautaro Martinez would be great, but I feel like he's just more of a dream signing. So there aren't that many strikers available in the market, unfortunately. So you had Isaac as well, who plays for Sweden and plays for Real Sociedad in Spain. He would be a sort of a good option, but commands a big transfer fee, especially in Spain. They have high release clauses, so that's like a non-starter itself. So yeah, it's not looking good in terms of incomings here. Interesting, Harvey Barnes. So Harvey Barnes, fantastic player, rating really highly. I believe he got 17 goals and assists last season for Leicester City, and has made great strides in the last year or two in terms of his development. So in terms of the player, of course, fantastic player, would offer great options for Liverpool in attack. But we're talking about Leicester City, who are very difficult to negotiate with. We'd have to pay over the odds. They'd probably command 60 to 80 million. That is not an option for Liverpool, unfortunately. Due to a lack of activity in this window, I don't have any confidence that we can even sign a player to that sort of figure. We sell to buy, unfortunately. Even right now, we're trying to sell Shaqiri, who I believe is, close to moving to Lyon. I believe they've agreed personal terms, but the clubs haven't agreed a fee. Lyon apparently offered 4 million, which is ridiculous. It's too less of an offer to receive. Liverpool should be commanding at least 10 million for him because he's a top player. Look what he just did in Euros. So that should have added a few million on his transfer fee alone. So, yeah. Origi as well. Looks like he's not leaving anytime soon. I know there's been interest from Southampton, West Ham, Villa, Wolves, but he just doesn't seem like he's interested in any of those moves. So maybe he's content to be in a squad player. But I feel like for him, it's only right that he moves on to a different club and plays more first-team football, as he won't get a lot of chances this year. And I feel like he's taken up a spot in the squad where we could have actually signed another player or a different type of player as we sort of reached our limit in terms of the quota for foreign players. So unless we don't sell Shaqiri, Origi, I don't feel like we'll sign anyone. So it's going to be interesting, I believe, a week and a half now. I'm trying to be as confident, thinking hopefully we get someone. If I was to say one signing and what position it would be, I think we'd end up with an attacker. But at this stage, it's such a funny one because we were quite heavily linked to Bissouma as well earlier this year. And that's gone quite all of a sudden, and no one's really made a bid for him. So really, really bizarre in terms of what's happening with him. And I feel like Arsenal might have been strong contenders to sign him, or Liverpool ourselves as well. Yeah, a bit frustrating as a Liverpool fan, as you're seeing so many clubs sign other players. For me, it's not really about that in terms of, why are we not signing any players? I just feel like there's two areas that we clearly need to improve on. But unfortunately, we're finding it very difficult to get rid of certain squad players. Until that's not solved, we won't be signing anyone. And that's the truth. So I don't really want to go into the season having, and no disrespect to these players, Origi, Minamino, and Shaqiri as our backup. I feel like we need a top quality fifth attacker. Jota has been great signings last year. We've got Harvey Elliott as well, but I wouldn't regard him as a fifth attacker. For me, he's probably the sixth attacker, but can also offer us options to play in the midfield position as well. So yeah, I think a fifth attacker is a priority right now, and also a midfielder to replace Gini Wijnaldum. Remains to be seen if that sort of midfielder is like for like or an attack-minded one, but we'll see how that goes. I'll probably do another transfer talk next week, hopefully with some more sort of rumors, but hopefully some good news as well that we've signed a player or two. But we'll see how that goes for us. But thank you for everyone for tuning in today for our match preview / transfer talk episode. I will be doing my next episode next week, Tuesday, the 24th of August at 10 p.m. So I will be reviewing the main matches of match week 2 in the Premier League. Plus, if there's any other transfer rumors, I will definitely speak about it during the show, and a little update from our Fantasy Premier League table as well. So good luck on that. But before you guys leave, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate all the support that you have shown us over the course of a year now, I believe. So we've just been doing it for a year and a half now. So thank you for that. And have a great evening. Stay safe. And we'll see you all very soon. Take care.